happens, especially when we do things live.
Do you guys have in Australia or in Brazil or in any Spanish-speaking countries this saying, the casa de herrero, cuchillo de palo? Yeah, there we go. It's working now. Perfect.
Played guitar and loved it. I always wanted to design things. That was my other second passion.
I remember the first day that I had in my studio and I set it all up and I was ready to go, and I really did feel that moment of, this is really happening.
Diving is great. It's all about exploring and finding new things. Breathing underwater, it's the closest thing to going out of space.
In 2009, I started to think, could I sell guitars online? When we first started, it was quite difficult to find information. Actually, you had to go looking in all these different places and try and piece it together.
The great thing about Digital Garage is it just gives you all the information in one place. You can access it anyway.
The fact that you can now go watch a video, get step-by-step instructions on how to do things is really helpful. When we put our first website up, literally took 14 days and we had our first booking. Now, 60 to 70% of our bookings all done online.
In the last 3 years, our revenue has tripled. It's like having another salesperson, really, that's just doing it without you having to manage them.
It's gone from where we started out, didn't know it was possible, to right now we're in 3 markets, Australia, New Zealand and the UK. Learning digital skills has been integral for our business, and it would have been so much easier if we had something like the Digital Garage to help us back then.
So again, welcome everyone. I'd like to start with this video. I think it tells a very beautiful message about being an entrepreneur, about exploring the opportunities of digital. So it's nice to start that way. So let me introduce myself. My name is Jean Magalhães, or as my Aussie friends would say, Jean Magalhães. I've been at Google Australia for 1.5 years. So my job is, I work in the small business marketing team here. So my job is to help take some of these digital stories and all these things that we have available at Google and helping business in the day-to-days to succeed. And before this 1.5 years, I started at Google Brazil at roughly 5 years ago, completing 5 years this week. So it's a big milestone. And where I also spent most of this time working with SMBs and kind of participating in that journey to succeed as digital advertisers. So the thing that I'm really passionate about my job is actually the huge impact that we see that digital has in day-to-days, in everyday business. We're not talking only about the big, large advertisers with the deepest pockets. We're talking about people that actually, every penny, every cent that they spend to drive a new acquisition, new business, a new sale, matter for them. So seeing how digital can work for this business is super inspiring. So that's pretty much how I found the passion of coming to work. And when we look at Australia, actually we see that these digital engaged small businesses, they're already proved to be more successful in many ways. So one of the things that we saw, so they're 1.5 more times likely to be growing their revenue compared to other businesses that are not taking advantage of these technologies. And other things we know that from a job creation point of view, they're also more likely to be creating jobs. So there's a few stats that kind of exemplifies the benefits of digital that goes beyond that simple new sale that they're doing. But at the same time, we see this as a huge opportunity. But when we look at the numbers with this study that we did with Deloitte last year, we saw that 90% of Australian businesses, they are actually not there yet. So they are not taking full advantage of all these opportunities, of all these digital tools. So what this message told us, which is pretty shocking if you work with that and your job is, so let me help all these folks to get online, and you see that number is not that big yet. It tells us a lot. So one of the things that we learned from that is reasons why small businesses, they are not taking full advantage of the online is it is too hard, it's a bit scary, they have many other things that they have to do as well. So we know that all these skills that you need sometimes to be there, to know, oh, I need to know everything, how to build websites, how to run a media campaign or something like that, can be scary. And so at Google, what we try to do as part of our mission is, we have as a company a mission to organize all the world's information and make it easy and accessible to everyone. So we thought that with that view, it wouldn't be different. We should we thought it would be important for us to find a way to deliver that knowledge and help these SMBs. And that's the reason why we created last year this thing called Digital Garage. So the point of Digital Garage is it's a one-stop shop where you can find all the information about digital. So we're talking about 90 bite-sized videos where you can learn everything from SEOs to SEM to how to do adverts to initiating your career as maybe a web developer and learning about websites and everything else. So the point of Digital Garage is, like Ian from Artist Guitars said in the example in the video, is sometimes all you need is that initial spike, the opportunity to learn how you can transform what it was his passion, which was like working with instruments and selling to and finding potential customers, sometimes overseas. And we just want to work and use Digital Garage as an enabler to make that possible. So this is a link I highly recommend. I'd like to start with this because what we're going to do today, we're going to cover just one part of this huge content library. And if you have any sort of questions about everything that is possible, I highly recommend you to just take notes on the Digital Garage website. And the good news, it's free, so you can access from everywhere, from every device, anything. And we also have a few translations as well. I think it's all YouTube videos, so if you feel more comfortable maybe working with the Portuguese subtitles or maybe working with the Spanish subtitles, that's also possible. So that's good news for all of you. So that said, I would like to talk a little bit about the agenda, so what we're going to talk for the next 30 minutes or so. So my objective here today is, first, talk about the Digital Garage, that's check. Second, I want to just give you a bit of an overview about what is happening in terms of consumer behavior online and how people are using the internet and using especially these devices here to find information and find whatever they want, whenever they need. And the second, we are going to talk a little bit more about how you can get there, how you can maximize the opportunities created from these new behaviors. And after this presentation, we'll have a chance to talk with Googlers and take questions from you and hopefully help you with what you need. Let's start with this statement. So we don't go online, we live online today. And again, when we refer to this quote, it's a bit punchy, but when we talk about the impact of these devices in our day-to-day lives, think of how we access information now. So I like to think of this, I'm going on holidays soon, and I like to just think back in like 5 or 6 years ago, how I would plan my holidays. So very likely what I would do, I would just go to maybe any university, a computer lab, sit down, spend like hours planning and taking notes of things, and all of that sessions that will happen all at once and sitting down, all that, it's a bit more complex and not super casual. Today, all of that session, I'm planning my next holiday now. Every time I have 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, I open my phone. I check, maybe what is the best place where I can stay in Nusa, or the place where I'm heading to soon. And it's actually part of my day now. Every time I have a few minutes, I have those sporadic moments in the day where I go and try to find, okay, maybe I need to find out where I'm staying, or maybe I need to find out where I'm going to eat, or something like that. So all those small fragmented moments in your days, they became part of how we interact and how we access information. So this is extremely, extremely important when you think of us as a business, right? So being present in those moments when people are actually, they are really, really looking for what we offer as a business is extremely, extremely important. And at Google, we understood this very rich intent-driven moments. We kind of named them as a micro moment. So micro moment are all those little moments in our days where we use all of these devices or whatever gadget we're talking about to look for some information that will help us to get maybe something done, something that we need to do done. And I'll play a video that will show you a bit more about these micro moments and what they are. Hope it works now.
People ask us all the time, how do I get into work?
Every time that I see this video, I kind of sympathize with the couple failing when they're cooking something and everything burns. I had a few attempts to cook for friends and stuff, and actually it never happened the way I expected this to be. So, sometimes if you fail, you don't need to be a good cook. Just if you have your phone, you're very likely to be able to order pizza or do whatever you want. So, anyways, that's not what we're talking today. But what we can talk about is how important these interactions are for your business. So when we talk about, again, about the importance of these mobile phones as the go-to destination when you need something, and we see that in Australia, actually, this 82% of the smartphone users, they actually go to the phones when they need something done. So again, to solidify that step that we were talking about. And I like to see this, that usually people say when, let's say I'll have a one of my missions as a marketer is try to convince my family that these tools are all important, right? So in the day-to-day, so my dad, he has a barbershop back in my hometown in Brazil, and he's been 30 years in business, and during these 5 years, I would say the first 3, I was trying to paint his head the importance of having this. And to his point, it's like, oh, all of my customers, they know what I am, they know how to find me, they have my phone and everything else. And something happened one day that made him change his mind, and the story was he changed his address, and one of his customers that knew his address for ages, what happened was he went there, he knocked the door, and he wasn't there anymore. So this customer who was from another city or something was visiting, trying to find him, couldn't find. What did he do? Okay, let me see if I can find him on the maps. My dad didn't know, but I added his pin on the Google Maps, and due to that customer actually found him, someone who he hasn't spoken for a long time. And so, well, how come that you found me? I mean, I changed address and you don't have my phone and everything. Oh, I just searched for you and I found you. And from that day onwards, now my dad asked me to keep sending him the reports and all this stuff that he does. So sometimes we think that, oh, actually everyone knows who I am, everyone knows where I work. Not really. I think we kind of take for granted that now it's so easy to find information about what is the address, how do I get to the place, what is the opening hours, that you as a user, you actually don't memorize anything anymore. You don't need to. So the point is, whenever you need, you just know, yeah, I'm just a barbershop, yeah, you find it. So making sure that we do not take this for granted is very important. So now that we understood a little bit about this concept of micro-moment, the importance of being present when people are using their phones and looking for us, what I'm going to try to cover is how we can participate in this, how we can be present in these moments when they are there with this rich intent. So the first example that I will give is, I could like my dad's example. That customer, he knew his name, he knew what he was. So let's say someone is looking exactly for you, for your business on the internet. So let me start with a question. What is the most effective type of advertisement?
Videos.
Face to face. Say it again? Word of mouth. Yes, exactly. As much as I would like to say that it's adverts and you all guys should sign up today and start doing things, word of mouth. We know how effective is word of mouth when you someone that actually knows your business, had a good experience, go to someone and tell you, oh, yeah, actually, go to the go to the bakery that they have amazing pastries and you're gonna have a great experience. So it's different when you actually see someone trying to push you something. But what happens? So that didn't change anything in essence with digital. But what changed is as soon as that person knows about that bakery. Oh yeah, so that's that bakery. But you know what is it? I mean, opening hours of that bakery? No. Do you know if they have that specific croissant that I really like? No. So what is it going to be the first thing that the person will do? Get their phone, say, okay, bakery, blah, and you'll be able to find all of this information. The good news is, it's pretty easy to be there when these people try to find you. And I want to start showing this, which is a basic search result for Savvy Brides, who is it's a wedding dress shop in Double Bay in Sydney. And I'm pretty sure all of you are very familiar with the search results, but in case you are not, talking about the desktop version first. So what you see at the top, it's the organic result for that specific query. So you see the website of Savvy Brides and all the information related to the website. Unfortunately, we won't have time to cover exactly how you can make the adjustments and optimizations to be on top of the organic results. But the good news is on the Digital Garage website that I was talking about, you have roughly 10 videos just about SEO, search organic optimization. So highly recommend you to have a look at that if that thing is important. But when we check the right side, when we check the right side, what we see there is a listing, what we call the listing on the Google My Business page. And that's when you can start playing and adding your information and using this to be attractive to your customers. So what Google My Business is, it's a place where you can connect all of these people that are looking for whatever you want with all those critical information about your business, including your address, your telephone number, your opening hours, maybe some photos, and everything that will help them to, by finding you, do something next, or do that extra step that you need them to do. If it's making an appointment, if it is like asking an important question about your business. And what we have here is that actually Google My Business for Australians became the first to-go option when they need to find local business exactly. So when you're talking about if you are, again, the bakery or the barber shop or whatever business you are, if Australians need to try to find you, they actually expect, so 90% of these Australians, they expect to find your information and your phone number when they try to find you. And again, the importance of having such a basic and critical information is less, not only because it will help to connect you to people, but also if you're not there, we know that 40% of these people, if they try to find you as a business, if they type your name and they don't find you, very likely they will switch a customer. So again, for either reasons, it's very important that you are present and that you take advantage of this to communicate with these people. The good news for Google My Business is it's a completely free tool, so we're not trying to sell anything. It's actually a very good way for us to find relevance to connect users to the search. So, and you can take all the steps needed to create this home page in 15 minutes. So I highly recommend if you have some time later today and you want to get it done, we can help you. It's super quick. So I'm going to go through some of the important steps just to highlight things that I want you to consider when going through this process. So the first thing, you can just type your business and try to find where you are. And it's super easy if you find your business already there. So sometimes Google actually got information from Yellow Pages and all these old sort of resources of information. So you can, anytime you find your business here, if not, you can just edit manually. And this is a very important part. So here's all the important information you need to talk about your business when you want to show on the maps, which is the Google My Business interface. Your name, your address, and phone. And there's one thing which is super, super important, the category. So the very thing that you see at the bottom. So sometimes some people get a bit hung up here when they try to find the exact category of their business. I mean, it's super comprehensive now. So you probably will find, as the example again, the bakery and cake shop. But let's say if I sell bagels and there's no bagels there, and there's no bagel shop as one of the categories, definitely choose what is as close as possible to what your business is, and that will help pretty much whenever someone looks for that specific category around the region where you are, it's very likely that your listing will show up. So this is one important thing. Don't get hung up when you try to find what is the right category for your business. Try to get the one who is the closest to what you need. Second, for many cases, I believe that we might have service providers here, people that are not actually, they don't have a physical store, a physical presence. You can also use Google My Business. So the point of using Google My Business in these cases is you can, instead of setting a specific location, you tell what is the radius where you work and what is the area that you cover with your business. So you can pretty much check that box saying that I deliver goods at certain services at my customer's location, and you set all the information about the radius where you're gonna show up. This is the last and most important step. Google cannot just let anyone go there and claim your business and say that they're you and start changing stuff and go live with that without your permission. So what we need to do, we need to verify those businesses. We need to make sure that actually you, when you're updating the information, you are who you say you are, and you're based in the address that you say you're at. So how we do that, we send you a verification code as a very last step. So whenever you finish all these updates, you got all the information in, and we send you a post on mail. So in that post, you're going to receive these 9-digit codes where we get all the steps, and you go back to the Google My Business website, you insert all the information, all the pins, and by the time you complete that step, verifying your business, your listing will be available. And so a few things that are important when you're sending this. We usually, in the past, have a few complaints of people not receiving the post. Say, oh, yeah, we cannot receive it. I haven't received anything. Many times people think it's junk mail. So because they only add the name of like Oasis Bakery, for instance. So we highly recommend, if you're doing this step today, make sure that on top of adding information of your business, just add your contact name. So whenever, if you have a receptionist or something and they receive it, they won't throw it away. Once you're done, once you created all the GMB, your Google My Business listing, and you're showing up for all the businesses looking for you on the web, there are a bunch of cool things that you can do to make sure you are leveraging this opportunity to get more attention from people looking for you, and even making more decisions based on what you have. So one of the things that I really like is the Business Insight tab. So when you have your business page created, the dashboard that you see inside is this, which is pretty much, it tells you all the traffic and everything that happened in a given time for that specific listing that you have. So when it becomes super interesting, when you have, let's say you're using this information to make decisions. So we have one of our clients here in Sydney. She has a bar. She works in a bar in a restaurant here in England. And she came to one of our events and she was telling me, well, yeah, so my strategy for advertising is I have a bar, and for me it's very important to get people coming on Friday nights, which is the day that I have the sports things going on. So what I do, I advertise every Friday, so in the Friday in the afternoon, and then hoping that people will come. And then when she came back to these results, she saw that actually the spikes of people searching for her were actually Thursday or Friday morning instead of Friday night when she was expecting. Which, it kind of makes sense if you think that when people are planning to do something on a Friday night, it's not on a Friday night, right? So usually Friday night you already know what you're going to do and you just go. And what this Insight staff told her was actually the best time for her to do advertising for that specific Fridays were the day before. So it starts to give you all those very rich insights that will give you decisions, and they'll help you to make informed decisions on how you spend your advertising money. Another thing on top of the insights that's super nice about Google My Business, you can also add photos. And it's unlimited, so you can add as many photos as you want. And the good thing is, I think it's probably some, I would say, for the Australians in the room, does it make sense if I say that one photo says more than 1,000 words? Yeah. Is it something that you would say? Yeah, okay, sounds good. Because that's a free translation of something in Portuguese that we say. And in fact, when you have a business, whatever it is, so let's take the example of the bakery that we're talking about. You know, if you have two bakeries and you're looking for them, and one has amazing photos of all of those yummy pastries and all this stuff, and another one has nothing, which is the one you're gonna pick? Very likely that the one with photos, right? So you know that all of those little things, including photos, including all the extra information that you give, it's going to give more credibility. It's going to give you more reasons for why someone will pick you instead of picking your competitor. So highly recommend, again, all of these additions on the Google My Business listing is free, so you can definitely explore as much as you can these opportunities to maximize your listings. A third thing that we also talk a lot about what you can do. Is everyone familiar with Street View? Yeah, okay, when you can actually ping and see what have that view from the car. So there is something called Street View for Business. So what Street View for Business does is think of the same experience, but instead of being on the streets, it's inside your shop, or inside your restaurant, or inside your hotel, or whatever you have. So usually, let's say, if you have a restaurant and you have invested lots of money to make it look pretty, it's super beautiful inside, and you want to give your customers the experience before they actually come to spend with you, this is a very nice tool that you can use. Another good news is that it's totally free for you to have this see inside, as we call, experience. The only thing you need to do, you just need to work with a trusted photographer. So there is a cost for these photographers to do all the shooting, and this cost it's very reasonable. So if you have a small shop, it's probably, I don't know, 100 something, or if you have a huge hotel or something, it could be up to thousands. But again, everything, the motto here and the takeaway is whatever you can do to make your listing and to make your information rich, to share as many things as you can, these will all help your clients to get across the line and do business with you. This is something that we just launched. I haven't seen this yet, but I will talk anyways because I think it's, no, you're here from Google, let's hear from the source, what the news are. So we just launched this thing called Posts on Google+. Sorry, on not Google+, Google+ is done. But on Google My Business. And thinking of the social experience of posts, this is similar. So let's say if you have your listing on the Google Maps, you can also add a few additional information about maybe one specific offer that you have. Let's say, so you have your pastries on specials. So we have 10% discount this weekend, come and check it out. So everything that you can just to create that sense of urgency around what you offer, connected to your listing as well. So I have these steps here. So I think you're all going to have access to this presentation, so no worries if you are not taking photos and not memorizing all the stuff. Now that we're done with that second part, so we first talked about the new behaviors and what people are doing online, and we now had a conversation about, okay, how can I take advantage of the digital opportunities for people that are looking for my business. That was the listing on Google Business and your appearance in maps. There's a third thing that we're going to talk about, which is, okay, but what if someone is looking for my business category, or you're looking for my service or whatever I offer, instead of looking exactly for me? Because that creates a bit of a different story, right? Because if they're looking specifically for you, it's reasonable enough that you're going to be the first one showing up when in the search result. But if they're looking for a generic keyword, that thing is a bit different. So for that, we are going to move and take another case study from one of our clients, Bay Fishing Trips.
Well, I started fishing when I was 18 months old, according to my father.
I'm Stuart.
I'm Sandra.
And we're both Bay Fishing Trips.
I hung on to another job for a while. I was standing by the photocopy machine and someone said, "You don't smile as much as you used to," and realised that I didn't enjoy my job.
We were thinking about what we like to do, so we chose our fishing boat.
It is hard work running a small business. It's constant. We need to keep working on the boat all the time. We need to keep working on the business all the time.
We were advertising through magazines, newspapers. That really didn't get us anywhere.
We found Google AdWords, and that then gave us a customer base that we didn't dream possible.
Times are changing. People are using computers, phones to tap into what's available, and we want to be there. They want to come out fishing, so they type into keywords, and if those keywords match up with what we've put in, Google AdWords, up we pop. It's really easy for people to contact us.
We're still doing the same number of trips, but there's a lot more people on board. That's the main difference. Can't imagine enjoying work and life as much as I am now. It was the best time of my life.
After a hard day's work, you go home, you have dinner, and you sit down and you just look at each other and smile because you're enjoying what you do.
I don't know how you feel about it, but this video made me question myself about what I'm doing with my career. Then I'm not working like swimming with dolphins and doing all these amazing things. Anyways, Google's cool though. So what we're going to talk about is that example that they just mentioned, how you can be present when people are looking for your, if you have a fishing charter business in Mornington Peninsula down in Victoria. So this is when AdWords, the platform that Google allows you to connect with people looking for this specific business that you offer comes in place. So AdWords is our advertising platform that will exactly do that thing when you select your keywords. I mean, and based on the keyword matching with whatever people are searching on the. Sorry, I don't know what's happening. Whenever people are searching for you, you will be showing up on the top of the search results. So as you can see, so the first 3 results there, they're all cases of people searching for Melbourne day trips. And what it's important to talk about this now. So most important elements is, so this, is everyone familiar with how you get charged to appear on these ads? Does anyone have an idea? Well, what is it who paying more, who's on top? Is it who has the best friend working at Google that appears on top? Again? Auction. There we go. So it's an auction system. Well done. So what happens is Google considers a few things to determine who's appearing in that specific order. So the first thing is an auction. So you say how much you would like to pay for one click, either on your website or one click that will drive you a phone call. But of course, only that information isn't enough for us to say that that specific ad is relevant for whoever is searching for that, right? So what we don't want to do as well is that anyone paying the highest bids will show up for any given query. So let's say if we're doing this Melbourne Day Tours sort of presentation, sort of search, and we say like Woolies advertising all carrots on special on top as the first result, it's going to be like a terrible user experience, and people will stop using Google. Right? So that's not our point as well. So what we do is, instead of only charging and defining as the bid as the only element, we also add something that we call quality score. So the quality score plays as a relevance indicator where Google will say, oh, yeah, actually that specific query that the person looked for is in your list of keywords, and that actually is the same as your business. Oh, and when Google goes to your website, it actually sees that all of the information that the person is looking for, it's what you're talking about. So the combination of these two things, the combination of you using the bids and the relevancy, the relevance of your ads, will determine if you appear on top or at the bottom. So that's a cool thing, because if it's not only who has the deepest pockets and pay the biggest money will appear on top, sometimes it's very likely that maybe this first result on the top of the page is for someone who's not paying the biggest bid. So it's super interesting. Things that we need to take into account as well. Do you remember when I was talking about the Google My Business listing and adding all this additional information to make it more relevant for people searching for you to take the action that you want? So on the ads, on Google AdWords, you can also increment the information that you're showing. So as you can see on top, you have the first top line was the headline where you say something with business, you have the lines of description, you have your website, and you also can add a few additional things, which include call extensions, seller ratings, which is all this stars grading system that we all know. And the third one is a very special one called site links. So let's say, again, using the example of Ian from our Artist Guitars. So he has a website selling acoustic guitars, and he also sells bass. So if someone is looking specifically for him and they want to buy one bass, what they can do, instead of going to this home page, which is the main link when they click, they can go to one specific tab in the website. And that's when the site link comes in. So the site link will take you directly to that page. And the idea is that you're shortening all the experience that people go, instead of going through 10 pages in your website to get the task done, they will jump straight to whatever they need. So this is the site links. Another very exciting one is the click-to-call. I think all of you guys, from a user standpoint, you all know this. So you know when you find out, oh yeah, well, let me call to that lady on the bar to see if I can make a reservation. So we know that 90% of customers, they actually expect, I already used this stat earlier today, they actually expect that they will be able to call you when they see your ad. And this gives you a huge opportunity to communicate with these potential customers, especially in business categories where you need to get the sort of convincing to get your sales done. Let's say recently I just did a car insurance, and I was in doubt about how to answer all those, that 10 pages form that you need to do. So I wanted to call someone and ask them, okay, so what does it mean? And so what I did, use a click to call, get to them, they clarified my questions, and they closed the sale. So this makes it so easy. Remember how it was in the past, where you go to a website, you go to their contact page, you see their phone at the bottom, you take notes on the phone, and you go to mobile phone, and then you, which is not going to be a smartphone, and then you type that. It's like 10 steps, boring. So now, by clicking, you get things done easy. So a few benefits of working and using AdWords. So different from traditional, you have a question? I think we're going to open 2 questions at the end. Can you hold it? I think it's behind you. No, would you mind holding? We have more 10 minutes, and then we will open for questions. So a few benefits of Google advertising solution is unlikely different than traditional media where you actually pay to get your ad, let's say in a billboard. So once you get your ad there, you pay the fee, and it's going to be there no matter what is happening, no matter if it's working or not. So taking another example, let's talk about you sell dresses, and you have that specific red dress that you want to advertise. So if you do an advertisement for a red dress in the billboard, let's say that all the sales go super well, and you're running out of stock. You sold everything, but your billboard is still there, and you still be paying for that. When you talk about digital advertising, and we're talking about AdWords, you have the flexibility to actually pause, stop, or start, stop, and adjust any of your campaigns along the way. So it helps you to avoid spending that money that you don't need. So in this case of the red dress, okay, I'm out of stock for the red dress, so I'll just change my ad. Instead of talking about the red dress, I'm going to talk about something else. You can actually do that adjustment on the fly, which is excellent, and will save you a good advertising money. Another element that we also find super important, your opportunity to track the results. So many times when you're doing traditional advertising again, you don't really know what is happening. You know, oh yeah, it's there, I can see it, but you cannot track exactly what is happening. So who's calling you? So which campaign, which keywords, what is happening? And I think the opportunity that you have with this digital these digital tools is you can actually see all of the success, and you can measure the ROI. So it becomes a very important thing for you in your day-to-day, proving your results. And I think third, the flexible pricing. Again, you can be very smart in how you operate your campaign. Remember all the relevance thing that I was talking about. So if you're super relevant, it's not necessarily need to spend loads of money to be on the top result. So that's a good news for you, and gives you the opportunity sometimes to compete with big players. If you're in a very specific, if you create one campaign which is very niche, very specific with the right keywords, you very likely will be able to be up there on top even of other big advertisers. So when you, all things considered, let's say, okay, I think this is for me. How do I get started? I just want to bring some things for your consideration. So if you are a classic small business in a specific local area, and you want to serve a discrete location, maybe the first and best option for you to start advertising will be using Google AdWords Express, which is pretty much a easier version to create your ads, and that you won't need that level of sophistication and knowledge beforehand to get things done. So AdWords Express pretty much uses all the backbone of the machine learning and all the things that Google have developed in terms of technologies to do some things for you. So it makes your life easier. So all the things you need to do when you're setting up a Google AdWords Express account is you need to tell Google what is your address. You need to tell what is your category, again, similar to the Google My Business listing. And you need to write up your ad and say how much what is your budget. So with this information, Google will find what is the right keyword, when they should show you, what is the best customer, and then they'll do all the match for you. It's very simple, but again, if you're a local business that you're trying to get things started at the first moment, and you have that very local approach, this could be a best option for you. Let's say you are a professional marketer, and then you know everything you're doing, you know everything about advertising, and you want to have a more sophisticated approach to your advertising. So what you can do, you can use the full version of Google AdWords, which will allow you to create all these additional tricks, all those call extensions, all those additional things that we were talking about, and make it a bit more sophisticated. But what happens a lot of times is you not necessarily have all the SKUs, or even if you have the SKUs, you don't have the time. So let's say I don't have the time to invest in this campaign, I cannot keep the pace of the change, and everything is, what you can also do, you can work with a Google partner agency. So Google partner agencies, they are actually agencies endorsed by Google. So Google helps to train these agencies to make sure that they are up to speed, that they understand everything about how to run campaigns, and then they can help you out. Of course, you want to negotiate directly with them fees and everything else, but the benefit is you're bringing someone who has already proved that they have the expertise. They're actually not freelancers, so in order to get what we call the Google Partners badge, that will show that these agencies are trusted by Google, they need to go through a few steps, including having minimum spend in all the clients, be certified and pass all the Google advertising exams, for example. So all things that will kind of protect you whenever you decide to go and work with one of these agencies. It's also one option. Great, so this takes us to the very last part of the presentation. So again, just to recap, we have talked a little bit about the consumer behavior changes that we saw and the importance of mobile and those micro moments. We had a very quick conversation about how people looking for you and your specific business, how you can show up for those queries using the Google My Business. We have a conversation about ads and how you can use actually those intent-driven moments for your business category or whatever service or product that you offer, and then use that to connect you to those people. And now I want to share with you some insights, some additional things on top, all free tools that you can also use to guide your campaigns. So this is one of my favorite ones. Is everyone familiar with Google Trends? Google Trends. So what Google Trends does, in case you're not familiar with it, just give it a play. It's such an amazing thing, and I really like to use this to see what is happening with the work. So let's say if you think, if you just do a random search about global warming, for instance, and you see when was the spike of global warming? Actually it was when Trump got elected. So everyone, when he was saying that global warming wasn't a thing and blah, blah, blah. So there are many ways that you can use to play with this. But bringing back to the business use case, this is a good example of one friend of the guy who works with us, that he actually also has a fishing charter. He has a fishing business. And what he was having, he noticed that his business were spiking a lot. He has lots of customers during the summer because it was hot and everyone wanted to be outside doing things. But every time during winter, what happened was things were quiet, but he still had to pay all the costs to keep the boat, to do everything else. And he thought, I just need to find a way because I cannot survive like this way. And then someone just said, but actually in winter you already have your boat. And is it winter when all the whales go up north and they all cross Sydney to give birth and everything else? It's like, yeah, potentially. So does everyone know what's going to happen with this chart? So when we add the whale watching as a complement to the same graph, you will see that they actually complement each other. So what happened to this case was, in the end, the business we started as a fishing charter business actually became a whale watching tour business that was doing fishing charter when there were no whales. So what this can give you is the opportunity to play around with all the seasonalities and all the things related to your business fluctuating along the year and over time, and then that will help you to make more smarter, informed decisions to move on with your business. A second free tool, by the way, Google Trends is also free. You can have access from your phone and from your laptop. Another free and one of my favorite tools is the Google Analytics. So for my friend who is a professional marketer, again, if you want to use and check all the information that is happening, so how users that are going to your website, what are they doing? How much time they spend on your page? Are they completing some specific action that you want them to do? So all of this information you can use via the Google Analytics campaign. Again, you can connect Google Analytics to all your ads and all your experience when you're advertising. So this creates you an extra level of very deep and rich information that will help you to make decisions. And last but not least, there is something called Test My Site. So what Test My Site is, we know about the importance of having good websites. today, and especially when we talk about mobile phones, it becomes super critical. And I like to use the analogy of, you know, when you go to a shop, let's say you go, for Brazilians, we go to a bank. So what happens in your experience when you go to the bank? There's a queue. And what happens with the queue? You wait a lot. You try to go there to get something done, and you need to be like for 10, 15, 20 minutes waiting. No one likes waiting. And we know that happens if you are waiting in a restaurant queue or something like that, but we always, as a business, we don't think how that wait also impact our digital business. So it's very, very critical for us when we get people sent to our website that we don't make them wait. And this is one of the things that the Test My Site tool helps you to figure out. So what is happening with the speed of your website when someone goes to your website and try to load your page? How long does it take? Does it take 3 seconds? Does it take 10 seconds? And this is all critical information, because you know what will happen if someone try to access your page and it takes forever to load? You're gonna leave. You're gonna leave and you'll go to your competitor and you lost that. So the good thing about Test My Site, it will give you a full report about all the things that are happening to your website and how you can actually make those little improvements to make this experience better. And even if you're not a super savvy web developer, you can use this information. You can just download this report and send to your web developer, and they will get things done for you. Similar to this, the Test My Site, we also have the principles of mobile design, which they are very well connected as well. They'll, again, teach you how you can make those little improvements and take your website to the next level. Well, with that, a few key takeaways. So if these 2 slides are the ones that you probably want to take photo of, so if you want, this is the time. Take your phones, and this, again, just remembering about the digital garage. So as I said, this today was only a very quick, just a glimpse of some of the things that you can do. And the next one is a few key tools and resources about things that I mentioned today. So Google My Business, Google AdWords, the Test My Site, principles of mobile design. And it was great to be here with you today. So now we are going to open for questions.
We're a little bit conscious of time, so maybe let's do one question. I don't know who was it.
Yeah, he was the one. Click to call? Okay. No, so good question. So Click to Call actually is available both for AdWords and the Google My Business listing. So and only Google My Business once you have your phone there, you also work the same way.
All right.
Maybe just because it's, we can do one more burning question, maybe.
One more burning question.
One more burning question.
Either way, we're going to have, right at the end, there's going to be a couple Googlers on the site. So if you guys have a lot of questions, you can approach them and they'll help you out. But
so for
let's go for
last
question over there.
A surprise. Thanks for your question.
You had a question there in the back? Yeah.
My question is about reviews. How is it to get more reviews to your online business, let's say, via my business?
Great. So usually what many businesses do, they kind of ask for their clients to leave a review. So whenever they go to your shop or whatever, your restaurant, whatever it is, it's more like encourage them to do something. Sometimes.
You send them like a link.
No, so you can. It's a good question.
So reviews, we actually done a lot of research on like what it means. The first thing I would say before I talk a little bit about how to get reviews, I'd say don't be scared of negative reviews. That'd be my first advice. And the reason is that it shows transparency and honesty from your company. So whatever your company is, don't be scared about negative reviews.
What I will try to do for you answering your question, I'll just check if it's possible to copy a link and send. I think I got your point. So you want to get a page where you can just share that with someone and say, can you please leave a review? Is that a thing? I'll check it.
So that would be the other thing, is ask your customers for reviews. So don't be scared about negative reviews, and also don't be scared about asking for reviews. So you can put them on your site, or if you, well, I guess Jean will add the link to the presentation that we'll share with you guys, but we have some tools. And there's some companies that their job is to get reviews from users, and we'll add that to the presentation. And thank you very much, John. Thank you. I hope you're not thinking too serious about your career change. That was really good.
Maybe.
All right. Well, thank you, Joe, again. So a little bit on, everyone happy with Digital Garage? Did you find that useful?
Yes.
Yes. So one thing I would love to mention about Digital Garage is that Jean has touched a lot about the Google tools in the Digital Garage, but Digital Garage is actually it's a company agnostic repository that we've put together. So in there you'll find tools, how to use the tools that he's explained already, as well as things like Bing and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and WordPress to create your website. So there's plenty of tools and instructional videos on how to use them, and it's not just Google, so I encourage you to go and check out the site. So on the next up, I wanted to share with you actually two of my good friends here, Marcia and Ine, a little bit of what I think an entrepreneur should have to be successful is to be able to network with other entrepreneurs. So in the spirit of that, I'd like to introduce my two friends, Ine and Marcia, to come up to the stage and tell us a little bit of their inspiring story of entrepreneurship and how they came to Australia, started their own business, and some of the challenges that they've gone through and how they've overcome them. So thank you guys, and I'll leave the microphone with you.
Oh, thank you.
Can everyone hear me? Hi everyone, I'm Marcia here, and my name is Karini. We are business partners, and our business is very new. It's a baby. So we could identify it very well with the presentation because unlikely to present as father's business, our business is not well known at all. So we are really starting from the beginning. Do you want to talk about yourself a little bit? Yeah, okay. So I am a psychologist. I finished my degree in Brazil, came to Australia in 2006, and I'm working in private practice. And I have my own website because I also work from other clinics. And then I met Karini when I actually got here in 2006. Karini was finishing her degree by then. And then we decided to join, and
Join forces.
Yes.
So we know each other for about, 11 years now? So we have been working together since then, but we were working for other private practices. So the issue with that is we would spend a lot of money basically paying for other people's business. And we do have